Bottom Line Podcast. I'm Jimmy Finizzi. I hope you're doing well. As always, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to take a listen. I really do appreciate it. Before we get started, questions, opinions, Twitter and Instagram at BottomLineWMCX. Use the hashtag BottomLine. Leave a voice message on the Anchor app or at anchor.fm. And if you're watching on YouTube, please leave a like and a comment down below. Helps out tremendously. And please make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you do not miss a single episode. And please make sure you subscribe on all audio listening platforms. Just include Jimmy when searching for the Bottom Line Podcast. All right. I'm going to be real with you right now. I was honestly in no mood to do an episode today, November 3rd, 2020. I know at the time of this recording, this day is very important. It's election day. And I posted a video on it on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, at BottomLineWMCX. And I already made my point to make it a right to go vote. And by the time you're listening to this, the polls will be closed and we will know who our president is for the next 4 years. But I'm not going to get into all of that because this is not a political podcast. So I know it's an important day, at the time of this recording at least. But obviously, people really want to try and get me to get a reaction. You know what? I've had enough. I'm going to give you a reaction of how I truly feel about this. So today, it's going to be some New York Giants talk, but about one person in particular. That would happen to be their starting quarterback by the name of Daniel Jones. Now, before we actually get into my true feelings about Daniel Jones, let's give you a little bit of a history here. Let's go back to when he was starting at Duke. In 3 years as a starter at Duke, from 2016 to 2018, he threw for 8,201 yards, 52 touchdowns, and 29 interceptions with an exactly 500 record of 19-19. All right, so that's at Duke. Let's go over his first 2 years in the NFL so far. His current stats last year. He threw for 3,027 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions with a quarterback rating of 87.7. All right. Pretty good first year, right? Pretty good first year. Then you come to this year. Clearly, there is a drop-off. His current stats this year, he's currently throwing, again, at the time of this recording, he's throwing for 1,666 yards, 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 73.9. Total all of that up, his first 2 years in the NFL so far, he has thrown, so far, for 4,693 yards, 31 touchdowns, 21 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 82.5. And keep this in mind, he has only started 20 games in his NFL career. Now, this stat came up on Monday Night Football. I got to give him credit for this stat. In 20 games, Daniel Jones has a total of 34 turnovers, including interceptions and fumbles, obviously. 34 turnovers in his first 20 games. That is the most since, let this name sink in, Ryan Leaf. Remember one of the biggest draft busts of all time? One of them, outside of Jamarcus Russell? Yeah. Anyway, so that's the most since Ryan Leaf had 41 turnovers between 1998 and 2000. So why do I bring this up? Because, quite frankly, and I have said this time and time again, and I will continue to say it until I am blue in the face, the turnovers for Daniel Jones are a problem. A huge problem. At this point, they are boneheaded turnovers. The 2 interceptions he threw against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football, inexcusable. Daniel Jones did not look that great. He had a bad game against Tampa Bay. Their defense and their offensive line had their best games of the year so far. They kept the Giants in that game. Now, Daniel Jones, to his credit, did give the Giants a chance to win by throwing a touchdown with a little over 30 seconds to go to Golden Tate. And by the way, if the Giants are really not going to involve Golden Tate in anything, they might as well just get rid of him. I know the trade deadline just passed, so it's probably too late now, but if you're really not going to involve Golden Tate in anything, just get rid of him, because when you actually do get him involved, he actually has proven he can still be a solid receiver. So I would involve him a lot more, but I digress there. But yes, their defense was great. Their offensive line was great. They had a rookie who filled in for Will Hernandez. I forget his name. Someone fill me in on that. But they had a rookie fill in for Will Hernandez who tested positive for COVID-19. And from what I've been hearing, he is in very, very good spirits. So good on Will Hernandez. So it looks like he's going to be okay. And Andrew Thomas, who the Giants drafted this year, probably had his best game of his career so far. But bottom line, their defense and their offensive line kept the Giants in that game from the get-go. Absolutely no question about it. They were pressuring Tom Brady all night long, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did not look all that impressive at all. So, and by the way, if I'm the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if you really want to prove that you're one of the best teams in football right now, outside of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are still undefeated at 7-0, might go 8-0 after this week because they're playing the Cowboys. But if you're Tampa, if you really want to prove that you're one of the best teams in the NFL, you got some cleaning up to do, especially since you play the Saints this week. So get your act together, because if you're Tampa Bay, you almost lost to a one-win football team in the New York Giants. That would have been inexcusable. Although it would have been fun to see Tom Brady even more pissed off than he already was in the first half. It's always fun to see Tom Brady pissed off knowing his history with the New York Giants. But hey, Tom Brady finally beat the Giants, but then again, Eli Manning is no longer the quarterback, but I digress. So why am I bringing all this up? Well, like I said, with Daniel Jones, which is the main subject of this episode, again, the turnovers are a huge, huge problem. They have always been his issue. And people are arguing, well, it's unfixable at this point. I actually happen to disagree. I think it can be fixable. But he has to do it himself. He can't rely on the coaching staff to help him all the time. These are mental, boneheaded mistakes that he's making, without question. So if he can just use his brain and say, instead of getting confused and seeing that there's clearly a defender in the way of where I want to throw, I'm going to A, throw it out of bounds, or B, if I'm being pressured, take the sack. If he can just realize that, Daniel Jones will be fine. And I think he will be fine. The turnovers, though, are a huge, huge issue. I am not denying that whatsoever. But the question, to me at least, that I've been asked from a lot of people, am I giving up on Daniel Jones? And the simple answer to that is absolutely 100% no! No! Hell no, I'm not giving up on this kid. What's the matter with you people? In fact, let me give you this statistic here that just proves to you that I am not giving up on Daniel Jones here. Peyton Manning threw 34 interceptions in his first 20 games in the NFL. Daniel Jones has 19. Okay? He has 19. Peyton Manning threw 34 in his first 20 games. If Peyton Manning can overcome that to become one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, then Daniel Jones can. I'm not saying that he's going to be the greatest quarterback of all time. That is out of the question. That is not happening. So please do not quote me on that. I am not saying that Daniel Jones is going to be the second coming of Peyton Manning. All right? So throw it out the window right now. But the bottom line of what I'm trying to say is Daniel Jones, hell no, I am not giving up on this kid. And if you really, really think about it, we trash the New York Jets all the time, right? The Jets are 0-8. They're clearly on a path to nowhere, all right? They have an incompetent head coach. Their ownership is terrible. Their quarterback is regressing so much Their offensive line is bad. Their defense is bad. The whole organization is just straight garbage. All right? So we trash the Jets all the time, and reasonably so. It looks like they're gonna go 0-16, which is more realistic. I don't think they'll be lucky to get at least one win this year. But then you look at the Giants. Joe Judge has done a fantastic job with this team. And if you look at it, the players play hard for him. They love what he's doing, and I love what he's doing as well. And if you're going to tell me, oh, well, Daniel Jones doesn't compete hard enough, are you kidding me? You think he wants to go out there and throw those turnovers? Hell no, he doesn't. But he does anyway, and it's a huge problem. I get that. But you think he really, really wants to? No. And if you actually do think that, you are delusional and you do not know football. I'm sorry, you don't. But look, if we're going to compare this with the Giants and Jets situation, who do you see more from? Do you see more from Daniel Jones, or do you see more from Sam Darnold? Easy answer, Daniel Jones! What have you seen from Sam Darnold this year? Granted, it's not all his fault, but still, what have you seen from Sam Darnold this year? Zip, nada. Nothing! Outside of maybe one or two great plays this year from Sam Darnold, you have seen nothing from him. He has regressed so much. With Daniel Jones, at least you see a lot of flashes where you say, whoa, this guy's going to be a great quarterback in this league. Have you seen his arm talent? Have you seen the way he runs? Granted, he tripped against the Eagles, but that is beside the point. You take that away, he is a fantastic mobile quarterback. He can run, and he can throw one hell of a football. All right? But with Daniel Jones, you at least see flashes of greatness. With Sam Darnold, you're seeing nothing. Nothing! So that's why I am not giving up on Daniel Jones. Because at least, according to the eye test, at least to my eyes, I still see flashes where he can do it. If he just mentally, himself, fixes the turnovers, Daniel Jones is going to be fine. And I don't want to hear, oh, well, he would be much better as a backup quarterback somewhere. Really? Really? Oh, and by the way, do you really, honestly believe that Colt McCoy is going to do any better? I don't think so. I'm sorry. No, Colt McCoy is not any better. As a matter of fact, when was the last time that Colt McCoy saw an NFL field? Like, he barely saw the field last year with Washington. He only threw 122 yards and an interception. But the last time that he truly saw an NFL field was in 2018 with Washington, where he threw for 372 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. Colt McCoy's best season of his NFL career was going all the way back to 2011, where he threw for 2,733 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 11 picks. Now, granted, those could be cleaned up, but still, that was probably his best season with the Cleveland Browns of all teams. So really, people, Colt McCoy is going to do any better? No, I'm sorry, he's not. He hasn't proven it. No. I would still take Daniel Jones over Sam Darnold and over Colt McCoy. I'm sorry, I just would. But look, bottom line, Dave Gettleman needs to be fired at the end of the season, if not immediately. He needs to go. In the 3 years that he has been the GM of the Giants have won 10 games. That is inexcusable. Dave Gettleman needs to go. He was never the right man for the job to begin with. Louis Riddick would have been perfect, and I will continue to argue this until I am dead. Louis Riddick knew what the problems were with the Giants. He knew what they needed. Did Dave Gettleman? No. He never knew what he was doing, outside of his computer folk and all that other BS. But Dave Gettleman had no idea what he was doing back then, and he still has no idea what he's doing right now. He needs to go immediately. Look, the bottom line, I am not giving up on Daniel Jones. I'm not. I'm sorry. You can call me whatever you want, tweet me, kill me. The next time we're allowed at games at MetLife Stadium again, throw something at me. I dare you. I don't care. I will stand by this as long as I am on this earth and as long as Daniel Jones is still their starting quarterback. I will still defend him, although it is getting a little bit tougher too. I will still defend him until I am blue in the face. Because if he can just mentally fix his problems, he will be fine. So please, come away from the ledge. Relax. Daniel Jones will be fine. Period. How about getting him some help while you're at it? How about getting him more receivers? His only really good target is Darius Slayton. Now, granted, Evan Ingram actually did show up against Tampa Bay, so I'll give him that much. He actually did show up. Sterling Shepard was pretty decent. Golden Tate was good. Their receivers stepped up. They did. But how about getting him a little more help? That's the bottom line. And that'll wrap it up for this episode of the Bottom Line Podcast. If you have any thoughts on this, and I'm sure you will, and I'm sure you'll try to kill me for defending him, but hey, I don't care. Do whatever you want. I don't care. I stand by what I said, and there is no changing my mind at this point. But if you have any thoughts on this, let me know on Twitter and Instagram at BottomLineWMCX. Use hashtag BottomLine. Leave a voice message on the Anchor app or at Anchor.fm. And please leave a like and a comment down below. Helps out tremendously. And please make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you do not miss a single episode. And please make sure you subscribe on all audio listening platforms. Just include Jimmy when searching for this podcast. So, yeah, I'm sorry I went on a little tirade there, but I just I've had enough. I really have had enough. I know it's getting tougher to defend Daniel Jones, but I still will, because I really do think it's a mental problem with him, the turnovers. Again, they are boneheaded and inexcusable. They are. It's a huge problem. But I really think deep down he can fix it. It's a mental problem with him. Daniel Jones will be fine. And if for some reason that the turnovers are not fixed and it continues to be an issue, then maybe within the next couple of years, if this continues to be a problem, you can say it's time for a quarterback change. That I will give you. But right now, he will be fine. Man, so that's enough of my tirading for today. I'm sorry again, but I've had enough. I really, really have. So I feel much better, to be honest with you. Now that I got all that out of my system, I really, really do feel a lot better. And I hope you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week. Another episode coming at you this week with my good friend Neil Villapiano. So stay tuned later in the week. I'm Jimmy Finizzi. This is the Bottom Line Podcast. See you in the next episode. Peace out.